I'm just recording a quick one for today, but I'm going to teach you about Ruby in implicit conversion methods. So if you came from a different language to Ruby like I did, you might want to do something like this. If you have the number of oranges is 5, you might say oranges plus the oranges and expect it to give you oranges colon 5, but it throws an error. Instead, in Ruby, the more Ruby way of doing this is oranges, and then you interpolate the oranges variable like so. But why does that work and the plus operator not? So it turns out Ruby defines these implicit conversion methods and explicit conversion methods. So if I can show you, nil dot respond to 2s, you'll get a true because you can call nil.2s and it'll give you an empty string. But if you check if nil responds to 2str, which is an implicit conversion method, it'll say false. And if you call that, it'll throw an error. So what these operators are actually doing in the background, the plus operator is calling .2str on its parameter oranges, and oranges doesn't have this toStr method defined on it because it's not a string, it's integer. And the exception is when you interpolate variables, the interpolated variable, they call the more lenient methods like .2s, .2i, and in a way this makes your code a little more safer because you're checking if you send in incorrect parameter to a method, instead of it using the incorrect parameter, it'll throw a type error. But what if you want to define objects of your own type that can interact with the Ruby standard classes, calling .2str, calling .2int on your methods? It's really easy. So what I'm going to do is use the file.open method as an example. So if I want to check how many lines my vim config is, I can say file.open, then I need to give it my home directory, so I'm going to interpolate it like this, env home, and then .vimrc. Open that file, check how many lines, each line dot count. Okay, so my vimrc is 495 lines long, but what if I want to encapsulate the home directory into a class that's called vimrc config or whatever? So let's do that. Let's say I have a vim config class and I initialize it with the file name. Here I just say file name equals file name, and now the method that I need to override here is not .2s, it's .toPath, because if you give a string to file, it's going to call .toPath in it. So if I override method .toPath and I just return this string, env at home, and then the file name variable. I can call the same method as I did above to open the config and check it, but I can say actually let's do this in a class. Let's say config file is equal to vimconfig.new, and I'll give it the string .vimrc vimconfig. So then I get a vimconfig object, and then I can say file.open my config object, and it'll give me the lines. So this is a nice way that you can use these implicit conversion methods .toPath, .toS, tr, .toInt to use your own objects with Ruby's built-in classes.